25-year-old Meaghan Vass has carried a terrible secret. The homeless woman and former drug addict claims she knows what really happened to Bob Chappell the night he was murdered on his yacht in Hobart.
So, you know who killed Bob Chappell?
Yes.
And it certainly wasn't Sue Neill Fraser.
In February of 2010, police were able to match a sizable sample of DNA, which had been found on the Four Winds, to a 15-year-old homeless girl called Meaghan Vass. In March 2010, Detective Sinnott was given Vass's file and was suddenly aware that the DNA placed a street kid and known thief on board the Four Winds on the night that Bob disappeared. This, I guess, came with a choice, which must have been concerning for the detective. Pursue this line of inquiry and potentially have to admit that you were responsible for the incarceration of an innocent person and face significant consequences. Or find a way to make this new discovery appear inconsequential and save your own arse. In the typical Tasmanian way, Detective Sinnott went for the latter.
When Tasmania Police realised it belonged to a young homeless girl, shouldn't the alarm bells have been going off?
I'm sure they did, but they were ignored because at that stage they'd already charged Sue. So, it would have been pretty horrible for them to come around and say, my God, we've charged an innocent person. And by then it was a bit late because the whole scenario they constructed was concentrated on Sue.
But you can't just ignore that sort of evidence, can you? Surely.
Everything that made sense was ignored. More importantly, everything that actually fitted in with the facts was ignored.
In court, the prosecution worked hard to avoid disclosure to Sue's legal team, and having been given minimal time during the trial to read Meaghan's somewhat sizable file, the defence team missed the opportunity to follow an avenue of inquiry which should have almost certainly created enough reasonable doubt for Sue to avoid a conviction. After Sue's trial, two people who stepped in to fight for Sue's freedom were documentary maker Eve Ash and retired Victorian homicide detective Colin McLaren. During their investigation, in 2016, Colin was approached by a Hobart woman who, despite a lifetime of struggles, cared deeply about not only her own children, but about those people who came into her life and treated her with kindness. Sue was one of these people. Whilst this woman had been in Risdon Prison serving time for traffic violations, she'd been given respect and help by Sue, and because of this, she chose to do whatever was in her power to help clear Sue's name. This woman approached Colin McLaren with the information that she knew Meaghan Vass, knew Meaghan was involved with Bob's disappearance, and that she could organise for Colin to meet with Meaghan to discuss this. For this, she was later charged and imprisoned for obstruction of justice, something that I will cover in a later episode.
A woman that's been in the underworld for most of her 43 years. She came to us voluntarily as a prison inmate. She's a criminal. Gabby knew Meaghan Vass well. She also mentioned that Meaghan was a keeper of diaries, and she had seen a diary entry that indicated that Meaghan was there that night, the night of the killing of Bob Chappell.
There was lots of promise and lots of desire on her part to want to help Sue Neill Fraser and also to set the record straight with what she thought was the true story behind the death of Bob Chappell.
Well, Gabby was telling me that she was a friend of Meaghan Vass and therefore she could facilitate an interview.
She's spoken and renewed contact with Meaghan. She's had some really heartfelt chats with Meaghan, and Meaghan is willing to assist.
Then all of a sudden Meaghan was introduced to me on the phone. Meaghan told me that she was on the yacht. There was a fight on the yacht. She fucked off, that was her words.
From her mouth to you.
And were with his mate, who had a boat not far from Four Winds. She said that it was somehow decided that we would go out and check that boat out. There was a dinghy on the beach. We took that. When we got onto the boat, they started mucking around looking for things to steal. Bob must have heard the commotion, came up from the bottom, and Meaghan was just standing there, just frozen.
Meaghan explained to you that she was frozen standing there.
Yeah, just standing there because they didn't expect anyone to be there. Because the dinghy was ashore, they thought no one was on the boat. One of the boys forced him to go back downstairs. She says, I can hear them yelling and fighting.
Where was Meaghan when this was
upstairs, like on the deck.
Did she tell you that?
Yeah. She said that she didn't go down, she didn't move from when she got on. And she said that she got scared and she didn't want to know what was going on, so she asked to take her ashore.
Did she tell you where then went?
I'm back out to the boat. The words are, I didn't see anything, so I don't even know nothing. But I knew it was bad the next morning because there were cops and shit everywhere.
After multiple false starts, McLaren and his team were finally able to meet with Meaghan Vass in 2017, who admitted that she had been on board the yacht with her then boyfriend, Sam Devine, and another man, and that during an altercation, Sam Devine struck Bob Chappell multiple times and killed him. Traumatised, she left the yacht and returned to the shore and claimed that she did not know what happened after that. This revelation was also in keeping with an account given to Colin McLaren by another inmate of Risdon Prison, Stephen Gleeson, who had been sleeping in his car on Marraville Esplanade on the night that Bob vanished and had witnessed Meaghan and her boyfriend as not only being present, but also as having headed out onto the water to steal from yachts. In April of 2017, Meaghan Vass signed a stat dec with lawyer Jeff Thompson, who was acting as a pro bono lawyer for Sue's team. In the stat dec, Meaghan stated that she had been present on the yacht on the night of Bob's disappearance and that Sue was not present. With an upcoming appeal on the horizon, it finally appeared that the truth was going to come out and that Sue may be finally cleared.
I met at a safe house with Meaghan. I put the statutory declaration to her. I asked her, is it all true and correct? And Meaghan said, yes, it is. And I said, well, would you like to sign it? Meaghan agreed. She signed it.
This is the statement that Meaghan Vass signed. In 2010, I was told that my DNA was found on the Four Winds yacht off Sandy Bay, Hobart. I was on the Four Winds yacht on the night of Australia Day 2009. I was there with people I will not name. I am scared. I do not want to give any details except that I was on the yacht. The lady, Sue Neill Fraser, was not on the yacht. I have never met her. I do not know her. I just know she is in prison. And I have thoughts about her every day. Nobody understands my grief. I do not want to say any more. I want to be left alone.
Things, however, did not go as smoothly as had been expected. In August of 2017, Tas Police took action against all those individuals who'd been involved in gaining the stat dec from Meaghan Vass. Both Gleeson and the female informant were arrested for allegedly perverting the course of justice for their roles in bringing to light Meaghan's involvement in the case. On the same day, lawyer Jeff Thompson's office was raided and all his files relating to Sue Neill Fraser's case were confiscated. Sometime later, he was also arrested for perverting the course of justice. In Sydney, the production company of documentary maker Eve Ash was raided and all footage of Meaghan Vass and the female informant was confiscated. A warrant was also made for the arrest of former Detective Colin McLaren in Victoria. However, it was immediately proven to be unlawful and he was released. Needless to say, when Sue's appeal went to court, Meaghan Vass claimed that she had been coerced into making her statement. So with this very crucial evidence gone, the appeal failed and Sue's hopes for freedom were once again dashed. In early 2019, Meaghan Vass approached 60 Minutes Australia to tell her story and to once again attempt to clear Sue's name. During her very emotional interview, Vass revealed that she was on the Four Winds with her then boyfriend and another man, having believed, due to the absence of a dinghy alongside the yacht, that there was nobody on board. They had gone onto the yacht to steal. According to Meaghan, having encountered a somewhat angry Bob Chappell, Meaghan's boyfriend struck him multiple times, subsequently killing him. Meaghan claimed that she then returned to the shore and had no idea what happened after that.
I remember being on board, and the person that I was with had obviously been spotted by Bob. I don't know, been told to piss off. They've had an argument, it's escalated. He's hit Bob, I don't know what with.
So he struck him?
Quite a few times, I think. Probably 20 minutes or so.
20 minutes?
Roundabouts.
It went on for a while?
Yeah. And then I saw a lot of blood, but I can't give any more than that. I can't remember.
The guy you were with was hitting Bob Chappell. Can you remember what he was hitting him with?
No.
When you say there was a lot of blood, were you downstairs? Were you on the deck? Were you in the cabin?
Okay. On deck, I think.
And what was your reaction to that?
That's when I've thrown up the vomit.
Meaghan says seeing an elderly man murdered was so frightening it made her physically ill. She vomited on the deck of the Four Winds, an act which branded her DNA to the yacht.
These new revelations gave hope to Sue and her legal team, who in 2020 were able to then submit a sworn statement in court from Meaghan, which echoed her statements made on 60 Minutes. In March of 2021, at Sue's most recent appeal, Meaghan Vass gave evidence in court confirming that she had witnessed an onboard altercation between Bob Chappell and two males who she was with, providing the court with the names of the offenders. Unfortunately, the court failed to protect their crucial but vulnerable witness. There was no move made to suppress the names of the men who'd been mentioned by Meaghan, and no effort to provide her with either legal immunity or physical protection. Subsequently, the following day, with a front-page headline in the local newspaper naming the guilty parties, Meaghan Vass, upon returning to court, clearly under considerable pressure, recanted her testimony from the previous day, forcing Sue's legal team to abandon their key grounds for appeal, which was reliant on Meaghan's testimony. This severely weakening their case, which in 2022 was denied by 2 of the 3 presiding judges. Yet another bid to clear Sue's name and gain her freedom had failed due to a systematic failure.